The moment I turned around, I suddenly realized what exactly I had just seen. I've had a fascination with the supernatural since I was very young. I've always enjoyed all sorts of horror stories, especially those from Asian countries, which always gave me goosebumps at night, but also thrilled me immensely. However, as time passed, merely reading these tales wasn't enough for me. I started to try out various supernatural games, but none of them lived up to my expectations, and nothing unusual ever happened. Eventually, I gradually moved on from this hobby. Once at a friend's party, we veered towards related subjects, and a boy said he knew a way to see ghosts. According to him, you should turn off the lights and shut the door at night, stand outside, tap the door 3 times with your left hand, and then enter. Once inside the room, light a candle at the southwest corner, blow gently over the flame, and you'll discern if there are any ghosts in your house. Honestly, I didn't take it too seriously at the time, thinking it was just another urban legend. Nonetheless, I couldn't help but jot down the game instructions. It didn't take long for the opportunity to come. That evening, my parents had to visit my grandparents, who lived far away. It seemed they were planning to spend the night there, and wouldn't be coming back tonight. Alone at home with nothing to do, I suddenly remembered the game. Since I had a fondness for playing horror games before, I had bought many candles. With all the props ready and boredom prevailing, I thought, why not give it a try? Everything was set up. Holding the candle in my right hand, I lightly tapped my room door 3 times with my left hand, then pushed it open. I lit the candle at the southwest corner, dripped a few drops of wax onto the floor, and then carefully placed the candle on top. I took a nervous, deep breath and gently blew over the flame. Then, I fixed my gaze upon it intently. In a fleeting moment, I thought I saw a dark shadow pass by. My heart skipped a beat, and I sat there for a while, trying to calm myself, then got up and resumed blowing. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I didn't see anything suspicious again. It was as if what I had seen earlier was just a figment of my imagination. I took a few more breaths, trying different directions, feeling like my brain was running out of oxygen from all the blowing. I thought to myself, it seems like there are no ghosts in my house. With that in mind, I was about to call it a day and go to bed. Just as I was about to grab the candle, I suddenly realized there was one direction I hadn't looked. That was the spot where I had been crouching. After realizing this, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was a cool breeze blowing on my neck. So, I slowly shifted to a different position, directly across from where I had just been crouching. I took a deep breath and blew towards the flame. Then, as I raised my gaze, I felt like I had plunged into an icy abyss. Every pore of my body is trembling with fear. Before me appeared a sinister face. The candlelight cast a dim yellow hue on my face, while his face was a ghastly shade of green with a pair of blood-red eyes. The breath I had just blown seemed to vanish in an instant, and the face disappeared along with it. I felt like I needed to confirm if it was real, so I blew another breath. The face appeared again, staring at me right in the eyes. We looked at each other for a few seconds, and suddenly he formed a creepy smile. Then, his face disappeared. I fall on the floor, totally froze. After a moment, I decided to grab the candle and turn on the lights first. At least, the bright light would make me feel a bit safer. But just as my hand was about to reach the candle, someone grabbed my shoulder. That's when I completely panicked, forgetting everything else, and rushed out of the room. From that day on, I was haunted by nightmares every night, the sort that felt like dreams within dreams, and I found myself mentally foggy. Once, I almost got hit by a car while crossing the street because I didn't see the red light. Finally, my parents noticed something was wrong with me. After learning about my situation, they took me to see a psychic. Before opening my mouth as I sat down in front of the medium, she sighed deeply and said, "Young man, you must hold reverence for the other world, or you're putting yourself in great danger." That afternoon, the medium blindfolded my eyes, plugged my ears, and performed a lengthy ritual. Afterward, she told me I need to stay in the house for 7 days. And during this time, as long as I didn't make eye contact with that thing, it would never be able to touch me again. For the next few days, I stayed at home. Although my mind still felt unclear, I could clearly sense improvement. I could even sleep for 4 to 5 hours straight at night now. On the 7th day, knowing that I would soon return to normal life if I persevered for just one more day, I felt so happy. That night I went to bed early in high spirits, but in the middle of the night, I was awakened by urgent knocking at the door. I sat up and listened carefully. The knocking seemed to be coming from outside the front door, so I got out of bed and tiptoed to the front door. The knocking persisted, its echoes piercing through the silent night. My parents' room is upstairs. Although it's a bit far, they shouldn't miss hearing sounds like this. Just as I hesitated, my dad's voice came from the door. "Hey buddy, could you please open the door for us? Your mom and I forgot our keys when we went out." Ah, that's it. I breathed a sigh of relief and stepped forward to help them open the door. But just as my hand reached the doorknob, I hesitated again. Why would Mom and Dad go out in the middle of the night? Is it really them at the door? With a shiver down my spine, I withdrew my hand and slowly leaned in to peek through the peephole. Strangely, I couldn't see anything. All I saw was a misty red haze. Whatever it wasn't a good sign. I averted my gaze and decided to return to bed, planning to bury my head under the covers until dawn. As I turned around to go back, I suddenly felt a hand on my shoulder, accompanied by a deep and eerie laughter, and a muffled,
"Finally, I got you."
That's when it hit me. The red I saw through the peephole was that thing, looking in from the other side with its blood, red eyes.
I never thought that such eerie things could happen to someone so close to me. I met her at a friend's party, and the moment I saw her, I knew she was the girl of my dreams. I pursued her vigorously afterward, and after several months of effort, she finally agreed to be with me. I was so happy about that, and the days that followed were even better than I imagined. She was like an angel, and our relationship progressed quickly. 6 months later, we moved in together. However, on our first night under the same roof, something unexpected happened. In the dead of night, while I was sound asleep, I was suddenly awakened by eerie laughter. Before I could even open my eyes, I felt hard to breathe, as if myself pinned down by something heavy on my chest. I struggled to open my eyes and saw her sitting on my chest, holding a phone in her hand. The blue light from the phone screen illuminated her beautiful face, giving it an eerie and unsettling glow. Her face twisted into a sinister grin as she murmured into her phone with an unsettlingly eerie voice, "I like you the most, and we should always be together." The sound was sharp, kind of like a man trying to mimic a woman's voice by constricting his throat. I was trembling in fear, unable to utter a word, only managing to emit faint grunts. Hearing my slight movement, she abruptly turned her gaze towards me, staring directly into my eyes. After a moment, she whispered another sentence. "Is he asleep or not?" Her voice retained its eerie quality. Then she replied in her own voice, "He's watching us." Having said that, she tossed the phone aside, then lay back on the bed, and I instantly felt a rush of relief, started breathing heavily. Then she responded as if I had just disturbed her, impatiently patting me with her eyes closed. I sat up and asked her, "What were you doing just now? Who were you talking to?" She looked puzzled and sat up too. I told her about what had just happened and requested to check her phone, but she flatly refused. She angrily accused me of being unreasonable, claiming that I didn't trust her. I began to doubt myself too. Were the things I had witnessed just now mere illusions, figments of my imagination? Yet the suffocating feeling in my chest was undeniably real. Maybe because of the shock, I woke up the next day with a slight fever, so I took a sick day off. I sat on the couch and grabbed her laptop lying on the coffee table. Okay, I confess, I did feel a twinge of curiosity. I sifted through her computer and stumbled upon an Instagram page in the browsing history. The moment I opened it, anger flared within me. It was a man's profile, and he posted very frequently, sometimes several times a day. Each post showcased her, either in profile or from behind, all her photos, whether at work, on the street, or even at home. I was furious at that moment and wanted to call her immediately to confront her. Yet upon checking the timestamps on the photos, my anger subsided, replaced by a chilling sense of fear. Lately, we had been together almost every day, and she hardly had any time alone. The photos posted by this man were mostly taken when I was around. I even spotted a bit of myself in one photo. Just then, the man posted on his IG again, and this time it was still her silhouette, standing at the doorway of the room. Our room. I looked up at the door and saw her standing there, looking at me. She had come back early because she was worried about me. I wanted to tell her what I saw, but the computer screen suddenly went black. She got very angry and took the computer, trying to restart it. "What did you do?" "There are so many important files and photos in my computer that haven't been backed up yet," she said angrily. I didn't get a chance to apologize before I spilled everything I found, but she grew even more furious. "Here we go again. The man, the photos. What else do you want to accuse me of? Don't you trust me at all?" She became increasingly upset, and her voice filled with frustration. "What have I done? Why is every boyfriend of mine so suspicious and unwilling to trust me?" No matter how much I tried to explain, she refused to listen, insisting on breaking up with me and kicking me out of the house. After that, I found a hotel room to rest, but I couldn't sleep. The images of those photos kept swirling in my mind. I decided to give her a call to try to explain one more time. However, as soon as the call connected, I heard a man's muffled voice on the other end.
Stop calling her. We're getting married soon.
He said abruptly before hanging up. When I tried calling back, the line was already unreachable. That night, I had a nightmare. In my dream, I wandered into a hotel where a wedding was about to take place. However, all the decorations were black. In the lobby, rows of tables were set, but the seats were all occupied by clay figures. Then, I saw her. She was wearing a long black dress, being led around by a man with pale face, toasting to those clay figures. When the man saw me, his face turned grim, and he shot me a hostile glare. "How dare you come here?" Before I could respond, I was shoved forcefully, and in a daze, I heard a noise from the hotel bathroom, followed by the door swinging open with a bang, revealing the pale face of the man from my dream. He lunged at me, wrapping a towel tightly around my neck. I struggled fiercely but couldn't even touch the man. As the towel tightened, I began to lose consciousness. The next day, I woke up to realize it was all a dream. Yet there was a faint mark on my neck. I was terrified and called her immediately, but she seemed determined to break up with me, refusing to pick up. I even went to her place, but she had moved to a friend's house to avoid me. In the days without her, I drifted aimlessly until the devastating news came 2 weeks later. She was hit by a speeding car while crossing the road. That day, she was wearing the same black dress from my dream.